Good morning and welcome back from spring break. This is Mrs. Dials and I am here today to get you reviewed for your quiz tomorrow on volume. Remember that volume is basically finding the number of cubes that will fit inside an object like a box or a rectangular prism. That's what we're looking at today. The class today is doing Zern Lesson 6, which you're welcome to do to review if you'd like. But I'm going to walk you through these exit tickets that will prepare you for the quiz tomorrow. We're going to be doing exit tickets number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. Okay, so if you want to turn, it's in your blue workbook, your Learn workbook, and find lesson 3 exit ticket. I don't have the page numbers, but find lesson 3 exit ticket. You can pause the video if you need to. And I'm going to walk you through these to review. Okay, so if you look at this first one, it says use the unit cubes to build the figure to the right. Fill in the missing information. Okay, so also remember when you find the volume of something, like you could just look at this and tell me how many cubes are in the picture. Notice that over here they kind of give you some notes. How many layers do you see? Well, I see a layer on the top and a layer on the bottom. That's 2 layers. And then how many cubes are in each layer? Well, there's 6 cubes I see on the top. So 2 layers of 6 cubes, the volume would be a total of 12 cubes. Okay, also remember our formula for volume is length times width times height. Okay, so notice also if you did that, you'd get the same thing. The length of this is 3. The width of it is 2. The height is 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. And 6 times 2 is 12. So you get 12 for the volume either way. Okay, let's look at this second one. It says this prism measures 3 units by 4 units by 2 units. Draw the layers as indicated. Now, I'm not going to make you necessarily draw the layers. We just really want you to focus on the volume. If it's 3 by 4 by 2, you're just going to multiply 3 times 4 times 2, which would end up being 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24. So the volume would be 24. Okay, so that's all there was to lesson 3. So let's turn and find lesson 4 exit ticket and walk through that one. Okay, let's see if you can find that. Okay, here it is. This one says calculate the volume of the prism, and they want you to indicate the length, width, and height, and then find the volume. So, and it actually doesn't matter which you label as the length, the width, or the height, because you're multiplying them all 3 together anyway. Okay, but typically we make the length go this way, the width is how deep it is, the height is how tall it is. But you know, you could take that and turn it, and the dimensions would change. So it doesn't matter which you label as which. But I'm just going to say this is the length, which I see is 2 cubes. And then the width, how deep is it back? It's 2 cubes deep. And then the height, 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes tall. So down here it says write the multiplication sentence that shows you how to get the volume. Make sure you include the units. So the volume would be 2 times 2 times 4. 2 times 2 is 4, and then 4 times 4 is 16. So it would be 16 millimeters cubed. Notice this is 2 millimeters times 2 millimeters times 4 millimeters. So if you have millimeters times millimeters times millimeters, it's millimeters to the 3rd power or cubed. Okay. Now down here, this one says a rectangular prism has a top face with an area of 20 square feet and a height of 5 feet. What is the volume? Okay, so what you're looking at here is it says it has the top face, it tells you the area. So it's like it doesn't give you this dimension or this dimension, okay? But it's just telling you, it's already multiplied those two for you and said that the area is 20. And then the height of the prism is 5. Okay, so it's like they already did the length times the width. They told you was 20, and then times the height. So to get the volume, you'd have to do 20 times 5. Well, 20 times 5 is 100. So the volume would be 100 feet cubed. Okay, there's exit ticket 4. So let's turn into exit ticket number 5. And take a look at this one. Okay, they give us a prism here and say find the volume. So again, you multiply. Now you can decide the order that you want to multiply. So depends. If I did 5 times 3, I'd have to do 15 times another 15. So you could do it that way. Or I might say 5 times 15, do that first and then multiply by 3. Whichever way you want to do it is fine. I'll go ahead and say 5 times 3 is 15, so I have to multiply by another 15. So 15 times 15. So 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Okay, then I bump over and multiply with my 1, which is a 10, so I have to put a 0 placeholder. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. And then add them together and get 225, and it was centimeters, so it would be centimeters cubed. That's my volume. Now it says shade the beaker to show how much liquid would fill the box. Now it turns out that cubic centimeters translate to millimeters. 1 cubic centimeter is equal to 1 milliliter. You would learn that in science. I don't know if we talked about that in class. So that would mean I would shade my beaker to 225 milliliters, which would be to this level right here. Because it would be halfway between 200 and 250. So that's, you'd shade your beaker. Okay, that's all there is to that exit ticket. That was a short one. Okay, then let's look for exit ticket number lesson 6. This one's a little more involved. Okay, so it says the image below represents 3 planters that are filled with soil. The total volume, find the total volume of soil in the 3 planters. Planter A, that's starting to give me some information here, is 14 by 3 by 4. Okay. Typically when they give you in that order, it's in length times width times height, okay? So 14 would be the length. And notice I would pick the longer, in the picture, the longer unit, because 14 is my biggest number. So this is obviously the longer one, 14 by 3. And I know that the width is going to be 3 because notice this width is labeled somewhere else in the picture. It's right here. So I know for sure that this width is 3, and then the height would be 4. 14 by 3 by 4. So I've labeled it. It's very important to label in this problem. Then planter B is 9 inches by 3 by 3. Okay, so this would be 9, the length of it, 9 by 3, and then it's 3 tall. Okay, so I know the 3 dimensions of this one. I know the 3 dimensions of this one. Now let's look here. I know this dimension and this dimension, but what's the height of this planter? Well, notice the total height is labeled as 13, and I know this is 4 and this is 3. So together, these two are 7 inches tall. So if the whole thing is 13, 13 minus 7, that means this one must be 6. Okay, now I have all 3 dimensions of all 3 planters, so I need to find the volume of each one and then add them up because it told me to find the total volume. So I'm going to do this on my other sheet of paper over here. Okay, so if I start with planter A, it's going to be 14 times 3 times 4. And I can multiply those in any order I want. So I'm going to do the 3 times 4, which is 12. Okay, so I'm going to do 14 times 12 over here. Okay, so 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. My placeholder, 1 times 4, and 1 times 1. Okay, so planter A is 168 cubic inches. Okay, then planter B is 9 by 3 by 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 9 is 81. So that one was a little easier. And then planter C, we said, is 3 times 3 times 6. Well, 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 6 is 54. So I found the volume of each one. Now I need to add them up. And if I had been neat and lined up my numbers, that would have been nice. So I'm going to do it a little better over here. Should have been paying attention. Okay, so if I do this, I see that would be 12 and 1 is 13. And then let's see, this would be 13 and 6 is 19 and 1 is 20. And then 2 and 1 is 3. So 303 cubic inches is the total volume. All right, there's that one. One more exit ticket to go. We are looking at exit ticket number 9. Lesson 9. All right, let's take a look. This one looks fun. Okay, a student designed this sculpture. Using the dimensions on the sculpture, find the dimensions of each rectangular prism and then calculate the volume of each prism. Okay, so if I notice from my picture, there are 2. Okay, there's Y and Z. It says rectangular prism Y, and I have to look for the length, width, and height and find the volume. Then Z, length, width, and height, find the volume, and then find the total. So I'd add them together. Okay, so let's get to it. If I start with prism Y, nothing on it is labeled. Okay, so if I start and I look at the length, and I'm looking for this one, okay, we've got to use the other numbers in the picture. Since I'm looking for this one going this way, I'm going to look for the other dimensions that are labeled going this way. Okay, I see a 6 and I see a 10. Okay, they're going that same direction. Notice 10 is the total length and 6 is a part of the length. So that means this is the other part. So 10 minus 6, this is 4. Okay, now I want this dimension, the width. Well, look for the other dimensions labeled in that direction. Okay, I see a 16 and I see a 10. Okay, they're going in that same direction. 16 is the total, 10 is a part, that means this is the other part. So 16 minus 10 is 6. Now the height of Y, okay, so I'm looking going this way. Well, I see a 6 and I see an 18. 18 is the total, 6 is a part, that means this is the other part. 18 minus 6 would be 12. Hold that here. Okay, so for rectangular prism Y, the height is 12, the length is 4, the width is 6. So I've got to find my volume. Okay, well, I'm going to look at that and say, I know 12 times 4 is 48, so I want to do 48 times 6 for that one. 6 times 8 is 48. This would be 24, and 4 more would be 28. So 288 is my volume for Y. Okay, now I'm going to look at Z. Okay, well, Z, the height, we have labeled as 18. The length is 10. The width is also 10. Okay, that looks right. So the volume, well, 10 times 10 is 100. So 18 times 100 is 1800. So that was easy. Now to find the total volume of this sculpture, we'd add the two volumes together. So we have 288 plus 1800. Just line it up right there and do it. Would be 2088 cubic, oops, it was inches, sorry, cubic inches. All right. Okay, so that about does it. We've gone over exit tickets 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. If you understood everything from these, you should be A-okay for your quiz tomorrow. Okay, and if you need some extra help, you might do Zern lesson 6. All right, see you later. Have a good day.